What is up, Survivor Thrivers? Authentically me, Regina B, is back with another video. How are you? I hope you've been well. I hope you've been in good health. It's been about 2.5, almost weeks since I posted my last video, and now I have some space, and with God's grace, I have some time to pick up our somatic therapy workbook and work through it again with you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for rocking with the channel. And let's get into our therapy workbook. It is the Somatic Therapy Handbook by Shar Hampton, Self-Soothing Techniques for Healing Trauma, Enhancing the Mind-Body Connection, and Stress Relief. And as you guys know, I'm a yoga instructor now at the community center, as well as a personal trainer. And one of the other yoga instructors went to a trauma-based yoga instructor training course over the weekend. And guess what they were talking about? How yoga fits into somatic therapy. I wasn't able to attend the class. Actually, I'm sorry, no, I'm wrong. It's this Saturday, and I'm not able to attend the class because my daughter has a volleyball game about 45 minutes away from me, so I won't be able to make it to the class in time. I'm not even going to be able to instruct my yoga class this weekend, but it's okay because one of the other instructors is subbing for me. So anyway, I can't wait to get her notes. She said she's going to take bunches of notes to share with me and the other yoga instructor there. But let's get into our therapy workbook, the Somatic Therapy Handbook. So, where did we leave off here? I can always go back through. Here, this is where we are. We are on page 8, and the heading is the importance of self-awareness and body-centered healing. As humans, we are blessed and gifted with the power of choice. We can choose to ignore, disconnect, resist, or beat ourselves up for simply being human and being capable of feeling the complex emotions that humans are capable of feeling. Or we can choose curiosity. We can choose to notice sensations when they arise and facilitate the movement of these feelings by allowing them to exist. That seems like a more attractive option because our quality of life improves in the most magnificent ways when we choose to change how we relate to our feelings. Is it easy? No, it's not, but worth it. It is. I wasn't always as self-aware as I am today. Honestly, I wasn't always willing or wanting to do the work. I was afraid of what I would find. More so, I was afraid that I wouldn't like what I found. But as I look back on the journey, I am glad that I did the work that was required, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be able to share the wisdom and shed light on things that I have learned about self-acceptance over the years. And she's going to get into some bullet points. I agree with all of this. I am an emotional person. I think it's a talent of mine. I think it's a gift from God to be able to feel emotions. I haven't always been accepting of those negative emotions. Like, I'm always excited when I feel joy and when I feel happiness and when I feel loved and understood and all of those great positive emotions. But the ones that are labeled as negative emotions, the anger, the frustration, disappointment, hurt, those are the feelings that I want to hurry up and rush through. I don't really want to take the time to fully understand or feel them, feel how they're affecting me until recently. Was it last week? It was one of these weeks that have passed. I was upset about something, and it was during a run that I gave myself a chance to feel that. And I'm like, why is this run hard? I'm not doing anything differently. I'm not doing it outside. I'm on my treadmill. Yesterday's run was so easy. Why do my legs feel so heavy? Why does my breath feel so labored? And I'm not even going a fast pace. I'm not even going the pace I was going yesterday. And so as I'm thinking about this and as I'm processing and praying, I was blessed to realize you're upset. You are hurt and your body feels heavier because you're carrying around this heavy load of hurt instead of just releasing it. And there were a few times that I wanted to cry, but I refused to let myself give into fully crying. And so now that I'm sitting here reading this with you and sharing this, it's like, was I heavy at that time, feeling that heaviness because I was holding in the weight of some tears that just needed to be released? And it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay. Like, it's a part of life. I have hurt people and people have hurt me. And accepting, like, oh, that kind of hurt. It's okay. So let's get into her bullet points. This is what she's learned. So it starts within, a process that begins with understanding our thoughts, feelings, and actions. You see, we are inherently emotional beings. We experience the world through our emotions. It's what keeps us connected to those around us. They keep us alive. Self-awareness helps us to navigate through them successfully, especially the most difficult ones. It teaches us how to properly be with them, not to just think them away. Bullet point 2, it's a vulnerable process. It's about growing the courage to be honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses and willingness to do the work that is necessary for progress. Bullet point 3, it's a special kind of presence, being present in the moment and connecting with the very essence of who we are. I like that. Bullet point 4, self-awareness is communicative. It's being brave enough to ask others for their perspective. Bullet point 5, it's understanding that our quirks and traits can help us better navigate the complex relationships in our personal and professional lives. Bullet point 6, it's an openness to change. Self-awareness requires a willingness to grow and adapt as you learn more about yourself. Bullet point 7, it's taking time to reflect on our experiences because those are ultimately the biggest reasons why we are the way we are. And bullet point 7, the last bullet point, it is a journey that requires patience, compassion, as we unpack the layers of what it means to be human. I love all 7 of those bullet points. All of them speak to me. I have recently begun this bullet point 7. It is a journey that requires patience and compassion as we unpack the layers of what it means to be human. We are human. And sometimes I practice perfect instead of just practicing patience or compassion. And I know that that belief system came a little bit from the religion that I was raised in, trying not to sin, once you give your life over to Christ, you are a new being in Christ. And I had to realize I'm human and I'm going to get frustrated. And for example, I was doing my daughter's hair and she started like, and so I was just holding her hair and I wasn't even touching her head. Like, let's say this is her head and I was holding her hair, or let's say this is her hair, and I was going like this. And I got this from a YouTube short that was so funny that a mom posted where she was like going like this to her daughter and her daughter was like, ah. And my daughter was doing that and I was so frustrated. And once I finished with that, instead of feeling bad about myself, I thought that was frustrating. That was a frustrating experience. However, I'm so proud of myself that I held my composure, because there were other times with other children where I was not able to hold my composure and I gave full vent to my frustration. But I was just aware like that was a frustrating situation. But I'm so glad I held my composure. And I'm human. And like she said, our emotions are what keep us alive. If we weren't supposed to have emotions, God would not have given them to us. We're not supposed to allow those emotions to control us either way. And that's what I'm searching for, is balance, neutrality, if that's a word. Like not getting overly excited about, the good emotions and not getting overly worked up over the bad emotions, but keeping balance in both scenarios, in both situations. if that makes sense. All right, so she says, self-awareness is not an easy state to get to. Understandably so, because it requires us to confront our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, which can be uncomfortable and even painful at times. That's why it's natural to want to avoid discomfort by distracting ourselves with external stimuli like social media, television, or work, rather than turning inward to reflect on our inner world. It also requires us to be honest with ourselves about our flaws and weaknesses, which can be intimidating because what if we are judged or rejected by others? Then there's the culture we live in as well. External success and achievement are much more valued over introspection, and self-reflection. We are taught to measure our worth by our accomplishments rather than by our inner qualities like empathy and compassion. Our traumas and difficult life experiences have left us feeling disconnected from our emotions and physical sensations. This disconnection can make it challenging to build a healthier relationship with ourselves because we may not even be aware of what we are feeling. I agree with all of that, and I recently had a conversation with my niece. And for any of us that are going on this journey of healing and self-awareness, I want you to know you're incredibly strong and you're incredibly brave, because it is not easy to be self-aware. It's not easy to face trauma. It's not easy to look within ourselves and see the things that we do that we need to correct. And me being a parent, I am hypersensitive to my flaws, overly so, because I'm just aware of how my behavior can affect my children. And it is difficult to go back through trauma. It is difficult to hold people accountable for the trauma that they've done to you. And it's hard to look at the way that you think sometimes. That's why I kind of was like, no, don't beat yourself up about getting frustrated with your child. This was a frustrating situation. However, I know what it feels like when, you're telling someone like, ow, and they're just like, I'm not hurting you, because they feel like they're using the most gentle of hand, but I'm not inside her body. Yes, is it frustrating? Was it frustrating when I was just holding the hair doing this? But maybe I have pulled her hair too hard. Maybe the brush is a little bit too rough. Maybe that sensation of that particular brush she doesn't like. So she's frustrated and I'm frustrated. We're both humans. And it's okay to be aware of that. But it's incredibly courageous to go on a journey of self-awareness and of healing. If everybody did that, the world would probably be a different place. But it is a scary thing to reflect over your journey and sometimes to hold people accountable. I mean, in my dysfunctional family, there are people who have been predators and there are victims to these predators that still interact. And it's like, how can healing begin if one, that person has not been called out on their destructive, disturbing behavior? And then how hurtful it is for the person that experienced it to be in the presence. It's just re-traumatizing all over again. So I just want you to know, if you're on this journey, you are not alone. There are more of us than you would think. And being alone doesn't mean you're lonely in your experiences and in your situation. So let me move on when it's a little bit too long. Pause. One of my kids must have set a timer on the iPad. So let's get back into this. Despite how hard it may be, it's a necessary tool for personal growth and transformation, particularly so in body-centered healing. You see, self-awareness is the ability to understand and recognize our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations in the present moment. It allows us to observe how we respond to different stimuli and situations, whether positive or negative, and to recognize patterns in our behavior. Body-centered healing helps us connect the dots between the disconnect from ourselves by identifying the root causes of our physical and emotional pain. Is my nose ring straight? When we are self aware, we are able to recognize and acknowledge how our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors impact our physical bodies. We learn to notice how we hold tension, where we feel pain, and how our emotions manifest themselves as a physical sensation. This awareness helps us to identify and release the underlying emotional and psychological patterns that may contribute to our physical symptoms. If we are experiencing chronic back pain, for example, self-awareness can help us identify the emotional stressors that may be contributing to the pain. We may notice that we hold tension in our backs when we feel overwhelmed or stressed. By recognizing this pattern, we can work to release the emotional stressors and retrain our body to respond differently to stress, ultimately leading to a reduction in pain. Self-awareness also allows us to connect with our intuition and inner wisdom. When we are in tune with our bodies and emotions, we can better understand our needs and make conscious choices that support our healing process. Here are some ways in which you can show up for yourself and get into the habit of nurturing self-awareness. And yoga helps me do that. I hold a lot of tension in my neck and shoulders when I'm upset. When I'm upset, or if I've gone into a mindset of thinking about some type of trauma that was very triggering, or I'm thinking about like a particular person that has harmed me, I tend to carry it in my shoulders and in my neck, and it just feels like this like intense grinding in my shoulders, and I'm more aware of it. And now, since I've been doing my yoga and different work and therapy, I'm able to be aware of like, ooh, you need to stretch it out. You need to do some breathing. You spent too much time on that thought. You let that thought spin you when you should have just let it float on, or a thought about that person. Other places I can tend to hold it when I'm angry. All the tension is in my head. I'm not holding my breath, but it's a sensation of heat, and it's a sensation of feeling all of this blood rush to my head, to where all I can think in that adrenaline is attack, right? It's fight, flight, or what's the third one? I don't know, but I be wanting to fight, and I have to be like, because sometimes when I'm triggered into anger, the person is not intending to offend or make me upset. So anyway, let's get into these, and then we'll be going into chapter 2 for our next video. So bear with me if this video is a little bit long. So we're going to get into some of the habits. So she says, get into the habit of regularly asking yourself what it is that I need right now. This is something that is so incredibly life-changing. I cannot even begin to stress how important it is. It is a generous act of self-love towards yourself, and a big, bold reminder that you matter too. I like that. I don't always remember to do that, but I have done that. What do I need right now? What do I need right now? Some water. All right. Next, get into the habit of asking yourself if a certain behavior or emotion is serving you in any way or form. There is something that can help you become more intentional with your life and boost the levels of self-awareness that you have. It is a great starting point in identifying what needs to change, and how, as well as a divine opportunity for something else to morph into something beautiful. Let me read that again. It is a great starting point in identifying what needs to change, and how, as well as a divine opportunity for something else to morph into something beautiful. There was no comma there, so I just was like, what? I agree with that. I've been practicing and I've been being mindful of when thoughts that are not helpful to me come into my mind, or thoughts of people come into my mind. I have been saying to myself, that does not serve me. That does not serve me. And it helps me go into greater awareness of like, that don't serve me. And I'll get back into doing whatever it was that I was doing, whether it was a yoga session or whether it was reading some more stuff on my yoga classes, whatever it was, if I'm cooking or something like that. And if it's a thought of a person that's harmed me or just a negative stinking thinking thought, I have practiced, that doesn't serve me. And I don't get it right every time. But again, my awareness on my thought patterns is so sharper now. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm hopeful because I know that the more I practice it, the more it will become second nature to me. All right, the third thing she says here is approach your emotions with less judgment and more curiosity. Shift your perspective from the idea that they are something to be feared or suppressed, but rather as a source for valuable insight and information. Instead of labeling them as good or bad, you might ask yourself questions like, what triggered this emotion? What is it that they are trying to tell you? What's amiss? What particular experience or event is this emotion reminding me of? And what can I do for myself to make myself feel better in this whole situation? After I'm done with this video, I'm coming back to highlight that because that is what I was just talking about a little bit earlier in the video. When I get frustrated or if there's a negative emotion that I have, instead of feeling bad because I've done something bad or I felt something bad, I want to have this neutral awareness of it so that I can stay human in the moment and not start to get low and not start to, almost tiptoe my feet into being depressed or down on myself, but just being, this is a great tool that I'm going to use of being like, okay, where is this coming from? These are all great questions that I'm going to highlight. And for her to say, not labeling it good or bad, that goes exactly with, like I said, what I was saying earlier. So the questions, I will read them again for you and for myself. Instead of labeling them as good or bad, we're going to ask ourselves questions like, what triggered this emotion? What is it that they are trying to tell you? What's amiss? What particular experience or event is this emotion reminding me of? That is a good one. And what can I do for myself to make myself feel better in this whole situation? That is some great stuff right there. The next point that she makes, let go of comparison and lean into gratitude. You are not them and they are not you. By allowing yourself to embrace your story and not shaming yourself into change, you learn to become more intentional in your own healing journey. You start doing things for yourself and not for other people, which is a more sustainable way to approach growth. Yes, comparison is a trap because, like she said, which is so factional and rational, you are not them and they are not you. And how you feel and how you perceive the world is different from me, from your sibling, from your parent, because you are you. You are the sum of your experiences, of your belief systems, of what you like, what you don't like. All of those things are uniquely and divinely you. And I'm saying that to me as well because sometimes I can compare myself like to my friends that I feel like they have it all together, or their home is like so much more pristine than mine and sharper than mine, and I have to stop myself and say, no, my situation is different. I have this many amount of kids. I don't like to do this, that, or the other. My husband is not like this, that, or the other. My situation is different. And it is exactly how it is supposed to be. And if I was supposed to be different or like somebody else, I would be that person. So that blesses me as well. The next point that she makes, create more than you consume. In today's society, we are constantly bombarded with information and entertainment, from social media to streaming services, which is why it's all the easier to dissociate. While there is nothing wrong with enjoying these things, it is important to remember that they are designed to be consumed, not created. To truly grow and develop as individuals, we must strive to create more than we consume. This could mean anything from writing a book to starting a business or simply volunteering in your community. By focusing on creation, we not only improve ourselves, but also contribute to the world around us and make a positive impact on others. So take a step back and ask yourself, are you consuming more than you create? A little bit. If so, it may be time to reevaluate your priorities and start focusing on creating something meaningful, like this video today. Start focusing more on where most of your energy is going. Notice the little things that inspire you to be better. This can be anything from the little acts of kindness that you see other strangers doing for other people to any positive feedback that you receive or small victories that you get. By noticing these little things, you'll learn to develop a greater appreciation for all the good in your life, which can contribute to you leading a more fulfilling life. I really love the expression, the only way out is through, more especially in the connection of self-awareness. With tons of compassion and intentionality around what we find when we check in with ourselves, we can get through some of our toughest seasons and emotions. And that is chapter 1 done. So we covered a lot of pages today. And what I will take away from that is, for one, being an overthinker is maybe a superpower. I'm an overthinker, and I obviously want it in proportion with what it should be. I don't want to be having racing thoughts. I don't want to be overly thinking about a negative thought or even a positive thought, but I do want to be aware. And when I am aware of what I'm feeling, I have been able to do something productive to get myself out of that. I've also been able to accept myself more as a human being. And when I come into this place of acceptance, I'm always blessed to remember that if there was an emotion that God did not want us to have, He would not have given it to us. And He's not shocked and He's not surprised by any thought we may have, by any feeling that we may have, or any action that we may take, that is good or bad, or just maybe not the best action that we should have taken in the moment of whatever emotional state that we're in. And if we take ourselves and become aware, what am I trying to say? Okay, here it is. For example, right now outside my window, it is a cloudy day. It rained a little bit earlier. The wind is gusting a little bit, and it's a little bit chillier outside, right? The cloudy days are just as acceptable as the sunny days. When we look out to nature, when we look out to weather, every day is different. Some days it's been hot and sunny and clear blue skies with white fluffy clouds. And some days it's been cloudy and gray and overcast and rainy. And that's how we are inside sometimes. Sometimes inside, we are bright and fluffy and feathery and all those good things. And then there's sometimes where we may feel downcast. Like David said, why are you downcast, oh my soul? Hope in God. And there is some days where maybe we need to rain, maybe we need to cry. But it is wholly us. The yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the light and the heavy. It is wholly us, and we are wholly accepted by God. And He doesn't want to overwhelm us with emotions. He wants us to take charge of our heart, to take charge of our emotions. And so Like I said, the more that I have been practicing self-awareness, being aware of when I've spent too long on a thought of a situation or a person that does not serve me, that is when I start to be aware of my body sensation of like, ooh, my shoulders are achy and heavy. And once I start to feel that, I'm like, wait a minute, what am I thinking of? What is this? Why do I feel? And I have been able to connect to, oh, I spent too long thinking about that thought. I spent too long thinking about, maybe I was watching a show and it reminds me of something I experienced in my life that was hurtful or harmful. And I'm like, oh, I started, my brain was watching this show. Then I started to think about my own personal experience with that. And that is weighing heavy on me. Let me breathe. Let me get up. Let me do a down dog or something. Let me see if I can do a handstand against the wall. Let me, roll my shoulders out. Let me, I love putting my hands behind my chest. Let me see if I can do it. When I feel really heavy in my shoulders, and I love to just open up my chest, open up my shoulders. Take a few deep breaths. And usually that achiness, it moves right on along. So I have really enjoyed the reading that we did today. I really enjoyed her saying not to label an emotion as good or bad, but to just ask, like, what's going on? Where did that come from? What do I need right now? I really, really like that. I hope that this has helped you. I hope that I am helping you along your journey. These videos definitely help me along my journey. I do come back and watch them because these are things that I need to remind myself of. And with all that I have going on, sometimes I just get distracted and I do disassociate because, I have little ones that I'm dealing with that as well. So sometimes this work to be so self-aware can take a lot, and so sometimes I do get off into social media a little too much. Well, not social media, but I'm a YouTuber and I enjoy YouTube videos and I enjoy just average everyday people and the content that they create, but I also enjoy creating content as well. And when she says that, getting out there and serving your community, doing the yoga classes on Saturday has really enriched me. Helping others breathe, helping others move their body has really blessed me, and I'm getting better and better as an instructor, and I have gotten nothing but positive feedback, and I'm just very, very blessed to be able to even have the opportunity to do the things that I'm doing in such a short amount of time. It's definitely a gift of God. So I hope that this has been helpful and impactful for you. If you want to join the journey, pick this book up. It is the Somatic Therapy Handbook by Shar Hampton. I will put the link in the description. And what was I about to close? Thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for rocking with the channel. Thank you to all my new subscribers for joining the journey, being a part of the tribe. And remember, get out there and get after whatever your get after is, if you are able to get after it. I love you. God loves you so much more. Peace. Oh, I got my hair done yesterday. I love it. Let me turn around here so you can see the back. I thought this hairstyle, when I showed her, I thought it was called a crown, but she was like, oh, you want a halo? But I really love it, and it feels like a crown. It feels like a crown of glory, like my hair. And if you guys want me to do like a story time about my journey to getting to be able to do locks, or the journey of my lock journey, what am I trying to say? If you want me to do a video about my lock journey and take you on with me through my journey of my lock discovery, let me know, because I would love to share with you guys how I got onto this lock journey and where it's taken me. It's definitely helped me through my journey of healing, because I had some body and hair, I guess, dysmorphia issues, and they are I'm getting better. Peace.